Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 78. It's Thursday, so we've got Jim F0123 Art on with us, and, yeah, let's get into it. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
How you doing?
It's, I gotta tell you, I had to register the car today.
Yeah, brutal.
Not register it, get it inspected.
Yeah.
You know, we live in one of those states where it's required, which, whatever, you know,
it is.
safe on the road.
It is what it is.
I was there for 3 hours.
What? That's crazy.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah,
it shouldn't
absolutely.
take fucking 3. And,
No,
and there's
shouldn't
not
even take
there's,
an hour.
There's not a great alternative. It's not like, you know, you can go do it yourself. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it's a horrible experience.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Brutal. What's going on with you?
Well, I just had to go past a 5-car pileup to get here today.
People just crash. Well, you got to get your shit inspected.
You know. So
5 car.
Yeah, 5
That seems
cars.
like a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. It happened before I got there, so it took a while to finally get to the scene. And
how bad? What? Like a lot of fucked up cars?
No, I mean it didn't look like it's that bad. It just looked like bumper cars.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You know, it's rush hour. It's everybody's getting out of work. All it takes is one asshole texting or watching TikTok while they're driving.
Exactly, ridiculous.
So let's talk about some movies.
Yeah.
What
sure.
Halloween season's over.
It's over now officially, but we watch horror movies throughout the entire year.
Oh,
so.
for sure. Before we get into it, I read an article on IGN the other day.
Yeah.
Talking about how horror is the most important genre.
Really?
Because it's generally the one that pushes the boundaries the furthest.
Sure.
First.
Sure, that makes sense.
And then as these bigger studios and things of that nature kind of see where the line is, they'll adapt accordingly.
Yeah, I can see that.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, that is.
Generally, IGN, they're very hit or miss.
Right.
But every now and then there's a gem in there.
Yeah.
So I like to give them credit when they nail it.
Right.
I actually someone sent me a little teaser.
Oh, okay.
To a film that you and I both love.
I know what's coming.
The old Terrifier 3.
So good.
Did you see the teaser?
I did.
Wow.
I did.
Oh, man. Art in
Christmas.
I don't know.
Christmas season art.
Yeah, in the Santa Claus suit.
It looks so good.
I cannot wait.
Yeah. I mean, they had the re-release in the theaters of Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
I didn't go. I don't even know if it was around here or
I
not.
think Boston was the closest one.
Was it? Yeah, but they unveiled the teaser there.
Oh, okay.
With the promotional you see the promotional posters that went along with it?
Yeah.
It looks so good.
It really does. And I know Damien Leone was saying that he's going to cut it down a little bit. He doesn't want it as bloated as 2.
Sure.
But he's pushing the boundaries with the gore.
Oh,
which
that's what you want.
Yeah, it has to be so over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, or else it doesn't work.
Right. Yeah. You can cut down on some of the story and increase the gore.
Right.
And
that's all.
That's a perfect movie right there.
That's what I'm there for.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm glad you got to see that too. I'm looking for. What is it? Next year or 25?
2024.
Okay. Yeah, I'm very excited for that. That can't come soon enough. What have you seen? What have you been watching?
So, again, we are, just finishing up the Halloween holiday season. So, we're still getting plenty of horror movies that are available. So I caught a couple new ones. So we'll start off with Creepshow, the original Creepshow.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is. I enjoy that one. So I try to catch that every year.
Because the Creepshow 2 has like the blob and like the.
So this is the one had
right?
Stephen King, right, where he
turns
to like that. Yeah, the alien encounter,
the plant
right,
guy
with the
or
plant,
whatever,
right.
Yeah.
And this had the
That's
Leslie.
like Stephen King coked out of his mind.
Totally,
too.
totally.
Yeah.
And my favorite one is the Leslie Nielsen, Ted Danson one.
Yeah, where he's like buried up to his neck or whatever.
And he's videoing it, and then they come back.
I got to tell you, anthology. Yeah, he's a skull.
Yeah,
so stupid. Anthologies are just
they are so good.
They work so well on Halloween.
They
movies.
do. They really do. I mean, and Creepshow is just one of those ones where that's kind of a staple every year. You know what I mean?
think
I
that was,
try to catch it as many times.
Tom Savini did the special effects on that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With the Beast in the Crate.
The Beast in the Crate,
and
right.
he also did the Creep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a little more trivia, used a real skeleton.
Nice.
Yeah.
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 Why the hell not?
Yeah.
Why the hell not? So
Creepshow's a good one.
Yeah, so Creepshow's a good one. The other one I caught, and this is another classic, The Thing.
Oh, great film.
With Kurt Russell.
Great film.
Great film.
That is probably in my top 3 sci-fi, or even if you want to call it, I guess it is horror,
yeah,
right?
I would say sci-fi horror, psychological.
I mean, and again, I know the special effects don't hold up as well as you'd like them to, but just the paranoia, the isolation, everything.
Yeah.
You're sitting there at the end, he's drinking the gasoline. Yeah. Like, come on.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there was no happy ending to this movie.
No.
You got the paranoia throughout, and then there's no happy ending at the end. And it's
now, have you seen the new one?
No.
So the new one is a prequel.
I heard that, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's worth, like, when I was watching it, I was like, I don't know, it's like a shittier version of because I had heard that originally they had used practical effects, and then some prick executive came in and made them redo everything in CGI.
Yeah,
so I watched it, and I was like, oh, it's not The Thing.
Right.
First of all, you don't have Kurt Russell, and he carries the movie. Mm-hmm. But then when you don't really find out it's a prequel till the end. And then when that kind of hits, you're like, oh, this is a fucking awesome movie.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, definitely worth a watch. But the thing is, John Carpenter, man, he's on the circuit right now.
Yeah, he is. He's talking about all of, the great movies he's done. And
he just seems like the chillest. Like, he's just like, just leave me alone.
Sure.
I just want to play video games.
Well, the thing is, I mean, he made his movies. And...
Yeah, but he doesn't consider himself like...
No, he doesn't hold himself up to the high, lofty standards that he should be and that we feel he is. Yeah. But he,
I mean,
his work speaks for itself.
Home runs. I mean, you're talking about The Thing. You're talking about Halloween, obviously. Mm-hmm. You're talking about... Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, I love that movie.
Right. I mean, it's just hit out, you know, and again, there's some that, vampires isn't great.
Sure.
But it is what it is.
Right. Right.
I just think John Carpenter is like the dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's got his movies that are going to be playing long after he's deceased.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I just love it. He just he got on the talk show and he's like, they're like, oh, you're going to make more movies? Like, I want to play video games.
Right. It's like, yeah, I made those movies already.
I've already made
good.
movies.
I'm
like,
good.
I want to play some video games. I was like, you fucking crazy bastard.
So those were my watches.
All right. Very cool.
What else did you see?
So I caught 3.
Okay.
So the first one I watched was Pet Sematary Bloodlines.
Oh, okay. And how was that? Because I haven't heard good things about it, but I don't know.
Here's the thing. It's not... It wasn't like egregiously bad.
Yeah.
But what I've been noticing lately is some of these horror movies are just... I think the worst thing a horror movie can do is be meh.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how So Pet Sematary started good. Okay? It's a prequel.
Right.
And I was like, okay, this could be interesting. We'll see what Judd was up to before, Gage gives him the old snippety-doo-dah.
Exactly.
And you had Mulder from X-Files.
Okay.
What the hell?
David Duchovny.
David Duchovny's in it. And he does a good performance is what he is.
Cool.
And obviously the special effects are good.
Mm-hmm.
But the story was just very bland. It's an hour and a half. It takes an hour to get into it.
Mm.
And, it's the typical bullshit that the guy's son dies, buries him in the pet cemetery, and then shit starts getting out of control. But I was watching, I was like, yeah, it's okay.
Mm.
I don't think it deserves, I know it's gotten a lot of hate.
Yeah.
I don't think it deserves the hate it's getting.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
it's a pass for me. Like,
Yeah.
I'll never pick it up again.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just kind of there.
And you know who else was in it? Was the kid who played Elliot in E.T. or whatever.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know what I'm
Henry
talking
Thomas?
about? Henry Thomas, yeah.
Yep.
He's just doing the horror circuit now,
Yeah.
right? He got into bed with Mike Flanagan.
Yeah.
And, and obviously he does great.
Sure.
So that's the thing, is that the people that were in it had some chops.
Yeah, just a weak story.
Kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, again, it was one of those things where I'm like,
It's just one of those stories that doesn't need to be
exactly.
told.
Like, who the fuck cares what Judd was doing?
Right, exactly. Like, obviously we know something occurred, right? I mean, obviously it was
Everybody kind of knows that there's
ancient burial
something
ground,
wrong. Right.
Native American, what have you,
right?
Supernatural. We got it. Like, you don't have to go further in exposition.
And that's kind of the thing, is like that's how I think is what kind of turned me off to it, because like the sum of its parts is weak.
Yeah.
But each individual part's fine.
Yeah.
Acting's good. The grotesqueness is there.
Sure.
The special effects are all practical. Like, all that shit is great. But when you put them all together, it just fizzles.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I'd stay away.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I'd stay away from that one. The second one I watched, which actually surprised me, it dropped on the 30th, was the new House LLC. I told you about Hell House.
Yeah. There's a new one.
Yeah, they dropped a new one.
Wow. Okay.
And the thing is it's very low budget. It's found footage, right?
Yeah.
But they do well. Things peak slowly around corners and then pull back. It has that sort of it's half documentary, so it feels kind of more real sort of thing. It's good. I like the formula.
Yeah,
look,
good.
it rates out the original rates out relatively high, and I don't think, I was ready to go for the I bought the ticket again.
Sure,
rode the ride.
Sure.
So caught that, and
nice.
then the third one I caught was mostly just out of curiosity. Was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay,
I watched that. Now, here's what I'll say. Willy's Wonderland, much better film.
Is it? Okay.
Just because, it's made for adults.
Sure.
This one was a little bit meh.
Yeah, I mean, I heard it skews a little bit younger.
Yeah, it's weird because tonally it kind of starts darker.
Okay.
And then as it kind of gets going, you're like, all right, this is a kid's movie.
Okay.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
So then once I got right with that, I was like, all right, I'm fucking on board.
Sure. Yeah. Why not?
And the box office is showing.
Well, I mean, and this is the thing, right? And we've talked about this numerous times, right?
Yeah.
Five Nights at Freddy's was true to the source material of what it is.
Oh yeah, it stayed very true to the lore.
Right.
The characters all looked how they were supposed
right.
to. Like the Jim Henson Company did the puppetry.
Of course. If you want it done right.
Right, but that's what I'm saying is they at least, they splurged for that.
Yeah. And but they gave the fans of the franchise something of what they wanted. Kind of like in the vein of when Dungeons and Dragons put their movie out, right?
Yeah,
it was made for the fans.
Yep.
Even though the box office didn't do well, it was made for the fans. It respected the fans. It respected the lore. It did not change everything completely.
Right.
Like we're seeing. And so, Five Nights at Freddy comes out and, and it makes its box office within the first weekend. Within the first weekend, it made all of its money back and turned a profit. Which
is good because Blumhouse needs money right now.
Right.
Because of the Exorcist debacle.
But on top of that, though, you keep on hearing excuse after excuse of why movies are failing, right? And you always hear, people don't want to come out. People don't want to see it. They're going to wait until it comes home. This debuted day and date on
Peacock.
Streaming.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and it still did 178 mil in the box office.
So that's a bullshit excuse that Five Nights at Freddy.
Of course it is.
So again.
And here's the thing. It got murdered by critics.
Sure, of course it did.
It did 3.3 on the critics.
Yeah.
It did 8.2 on the audience score.
Because the critics don't like that it's not, pandering to the message.
I guess. I'll tell you this. I don't know if they just missed the memo that it was a kids movie.
Maybe.
Because as soon as like I said, I was ready to kind of bite its head off, right? Because I was like, oh, this started so tonal, and like now it's, and then it clicked, and I was like, all right, this is absolutely for tweens and teens.
Yeah.
And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I remember a buddy of mine, his kid went as the character.
Yeah, one of the
Halloween.
Yeah.
Maybe Freddy, whatever the bear. Right?
Yeah, Freddy.
That was probably like 5-6 years ago, right?
It's been around for 10 plus years.
Right. And maybe even longer, but as far as when he went on Halloween. But my point is that he was extremely young at the time. I'm talking like maybe a preteen at the time he did this.
Right.
And so I knew, based upon that if he's watching it, this is made for that general audience, right? So it was going to skew younger. So this is one of those kind of horror video games that, is good for kids of a younger age. So it's probably not that scary, but for them it might be.
And I think that's kind of, one of the problems with critics these days is that not everything is for your grown-ass adultness.
Right, exactly.
Like, here's the thing. If the kids, no matter what you felt about Little Mermaid, right, or even Peter Pan, right, if the kids liked it, just shut the fuck up.
Right.
It's not for you. It's for the kids. But the kids don't fucking like it.
They hated it. They hated it.
So that's the thing, is that what's crazy to me is that these movies, at the end of the day, right, we're grown-ass men. Doesn't fucking matter what we think of these movies. They're not for us.
Right.
But the pandering that occurs in a lot of these films is speaking to the adult audience, because the kids don't fucking know.
No, they don't know.
All they know is shit just got boring because we had to have a monologue about, bringing down the patriarchy or whatever the fuck it is,
Right. Exactly.
And it's just bizarre to me.
Right.
And then we get a Five Nights at Freddy's, and look, I watched it. It was just okay.
Yeah.
But the kids seem to like it.
Right, and it's the same thing with the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was okay. There was a lot of heart.
Kids.
There was a lot of heart.
But it skewed younger, right? The movie was made, and the kids loved it. The thing went over $1 billion.
As it should have.
As it should, because it was true. And again, it was made for kids. These movies are not, made for adults. Adults can enjoy them.
Here's the thing. I enjoyed Mario.
Sure.
More than Five Nights, because I think there was more heart in the Mario movie.
Sure.
But what they had was a strong, independent woman in Peach in the Mario movie. And it was never fucking stated.
Right.
It was just that she fought alongside Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
And it's like the kids dig that, and they want to be Peach because that's all it has to be.
Right. And I don't even know what the critics are complaining about with this movie.
Just that it's, again, I've heard that tonal, like I've said, tonally it's not, it doesn't pace itself great. It's very hard for it to stick to a specific tone. But again, you get pulled in by the scariness, and it's a kid, and then it's like Haunted Mansion, right?
Right.
It's a kid's movie.
Right. At the end of the day, it's more
so your
for
meat,
kids.
Your meat is going to be, look, it's a little bit scary at the beginning. Most of the meat is the kids' part. It's a little bit scary at the end. You have a decent set of actors. You get the kid from the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
You have Matthew Lillard, who I haven't seen in ages, but you're going to do fine with him. And you have that lady from Yellowstone.
Yeah. I don't remember her name.
Yeah. And she gives a great performance as well.
Right. But it's one of these things where it's like, but the kids but it's the audience who it's targeted for. And again, if you are a critic and you don't know what Five Nights at Freddy is, then shame on you, because you're not doing your homework and you're an idiot if you go in there blind. But again, if you know it's geared towards kids, it doesn't matter if it doesn't hit the notes for you as an adult.
It has been geared toward.
Right, exactly. That's not new.
Right. It's not like they took, It's not like Five Nights at Freddy's was this hardcore horror video.
Right.
No, it's always been kind of geared
this isn't the
towards kids.
Terrifier.
No.
And all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's like a kid show. Like,
right. Like they chopped off Art's knees or whatever.
Right. It's like, no. This was always made for kids right from the get-go.
And listen, somebody gets bit in half. Like it's not
sure
totally, devoid of
it's not made for, young preschoolers.
I would say like, maybe 10 to 12.
Yeah, the preteen type
tween,
of
early teens,
right.
I think are going to have a blast with it.
Yeah. But
whether they go to the theater or not.
Right. But again, this movie is doing tremendously well because it is.
They're already talking sequel.
Because it's true to what everybody that is a fan expected it to be. There was no disappointment from the fans
they didn't try to
in the
change,
presentation.
They didn't try to change, what the characters were. You know what I mean? So there wasn't any deeper message,
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just worked. And obviously the audience thinks it works because money talks.
Right. Exactly. And again, people went out to the theaters even though it was streaming on the same day. So, I'm saying, maybe you don't have that streaming service, so therefore it didn't matter. But again, this is what you're being told is that is impacting.
Peacock. This is Peacock's second video game adaptation.
Yeah, this year,
and they're nailing it.
Yeah,
they're nailing it. I mean, Twisted Metal was fucking awesome.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think that. I think that we're seeing a turn in almost every studio but Disney.
Yeah, I think Disney is gonna Titanic it. I think they're gonna be the fucking violinist playing on the ship as it sinks.
Exactly.
Which is fine. I mean, great. Why don't we cut up all of their assets, give it to the people that actually want to make some good shit?
Yeah.
And the world will not be worse because there's no more Disney.
No, because they'll be Disney by name. It'll never go away.
No, the theme parks will always be there.
And whoever buys it, I would hope has the respect for Walt and what he created to try to bring it back to some of that, magic. So I do think that Disney will always exist in some form, but we have to get rid of this iteration.
It's more than it goes deeper than that too. Because at the end of the day, Walt was a businessman.
Sure.
Right? But what Disney has morphed into is a monster.
Right.
Like, you can't... it's $5,000 to go to the parks for 3 days.
Right. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
That's not including, like, flights and stuff.
No.
That's crazy.
No. And again, we're gonna get the investor call coming up, and I think that, you're going to see that. You're going to see that Nelson Peltz, Ike Perlmutter combination really go in for a play, because they had the announcement today of the Hulu deal, right? So the Hulu deal,
knew Comcast and Universal was going to push that.
So I think that they want to have it done in early 2024, right? They want to have the deal done.
They'll let them lick their wound because you'd kill the brand if you did it to them at the end of the year.
So you're gonna have to talk about that on your investment call coming up next week. And right now you're working on the valuation, right? The valuation is anywhere from 10 to could be depending on what they have to pay, right?
Right.
I mean, it could be $30 billion. Who the hell knows?
Right.
But Disney doesn't have that type of free cash.
But that's the thing
on
is
something
that
they have to pay for.
When the deal was made, they did have that kind of cash.
Right. And Hulu's valuation was much lower.
Right.
Now, in the subsequent years, Hulu has become a very profitable streaming service.
Yeah, I think it's number 3.
Yeah. And so their valuation is much, much greater than when they put the preliminary numbers together. So, they're
right, and they didn't settle on a figure.
No, they just said, here's kind of where the floor is right now at like $8 billion, right? It could go anywhere, but we'll start at $8 billion and go from there. Now they're talking like 30 to 50 billion.
50 billion. I don't know I mean, they're going to have to borrow, I guess.
Sure, and they think that they have the means to, and they probably do.
For sure, but I mean, that's a lot of...
Right.
Listen, that's a lot of debt to be taking on after the amount of hemorrhaging you've done.
Right.
You know, the damage to the brand at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm an investor, or even if I'm someone who has the ability to loan, I'm looking at that and going, I don't know if this is a good investment.
Right. And the thing is, you know, Disney has no choice. They have to do this deal.
Right. They have to buy Hulu.
Right. They have to buy it. They have to buy it come the beginning of 2024.
This is where you see Iger as a CEO's true failure.
Right.
There was no fucking reason to make a separate streaming platform in Disney Plus if you were going to be forced to buy the majority of Hulu.
Right. And again, you knew this was set in motion before Disney Plus. So It's not like you didn't know that this day was coming. You knew that you were going to have to buy Hulu in total from Comcast in 2024. The only thing that you didn't know was what the value was going to be. That was the only thing that was unsettled.
But all you had to do was buy Hulu, rebrand it as Disney Plus, and you're done.
Right, exactly.
You know, you had to spend the money, you know, you had to spend the big lump sum, but you didn't have to create your own streaming service.
Right, exactly.
All the deals would have already been in place. You would have been able to add a massive library to Hulu and then boost Hulu numbers.
Right.
But instead, you did this asinine move where you're like, you know what? No. We're going to make our own stream. Like, what was the fucking thought process behind that?
The thought process was that where everybody was trending and you just wanted to make a big splash with your investors. Everything that they do is to try to please the investors to make the stock go up. Every announcement they make is so short-sighted.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, when you actually get into the decision makings that these guys are doing, the fact that these, like, I don't know how these companies manage to run.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you're making decisions with no, like, foresight at all.
No, they don't, because, you know, the thought is always it's going to be the next guy's problem to deal with. I'm going to do all this.
You know, it was supposed to be Chapek's problem, but he was so bad.
Right.
You know, that he got himself out. He's probably thrilled that they fired him.
Oh, I'm sure at this point he is, because this was a mess that he had no... Because, again,
listen,
this was all put in motion before he got that job.
This was a mess that maybe a better CEO could have fixed, but I don't think Chapek caused it.
No. The one thing, though, that I think that Chapek could have done is he should have done a better job at keeping the costs for the park in check and trying to keep that as profitable as could possibly be, because then you could have weathered the storm of all these, the streaming service failure, the cinema failure. You could have still...
Right, as long as the parks were still churning.
But because he let the parks, get so extremely expensive...
Well, he was panicking. He was panicking because they got shut down.
Right.
So
he tried to make up the money by aggressively raising the price.
The thing is that they got shut down for 6 months,
right,
or whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever.
You're talking about a huge operation.
Yeah,
just coming to a standstill.
Yeah,
it's not like the lights don't have to stay on and the electricity doesn't have to be paid or anything like that.
Sure,
it was hemorrhaging money. Like the lights that we've never seen before.
Right. But I also think that they could have found a way with working with the government to get the money back, right? They could have got some loans.
Not even loans. They would have just had debt forgiveness. It's a Megacorp.
Right, exactly. Debt forgiveness programs, whatever it was.
Right.
They could have weathered that storm.
Instead, this idiot was like, you know what I'll do is I will raise the prices of everything, make the Fast Pass go away, turn it into the Genie Pass, which sucked. Nobody liked it.
Nobody.
And as a result, they put out that fucking failure of a hotel, right? $5,000
big
for a
time,
right,
for a weekend.
For a weekend, what a failure that was.
Yeah,
and then
absolute failure.
And again, where the parks are at right now is, you can come if you got $5,000 for a family of 4 for 3 days.
Right?
Who the fuck want? Like, look, it's hot in Florida, or even California. Like, who the fuck is going to spend that kind of money?
Right. But here's the thing, though, and I'm so tired of hearing that. Did Florida and California all of a sudden get hot with, we didn't notice? Like, when were they not hot?
Listen to my point, though, is that when it was $800 to go, you deal with the hot.
Oh, no.
But it's $5,000.
Right.
I'm not going to go fucking boil in the Florida heat for $5,000.
But what I'm saying is they're using that as an excuse of why the parks are empty. And I'm like, no, the parks aren't empty because of the heat. The heat has always been there.
When the parks were affordable, people put up with the heat.
The price that you have to stand in the heat is now the difference.
Right.
If you're spending $800, you'll deal with it. If you're spending $5,000,
it better be in a
screw
dome.
you.
It better be in an air-conditioned dome at $5,000.
So you just again, you keep on making excuses.
See, what it is they try to simplify this complex thing, right? They do it with every facet of their business. The heat is a factor,
sure,
but it only becomes a factor when the price gets to an unbearable point. When you say to me, it's $1,000 for an entire week for a family of 4, I'm going to tell my kids to shut the fuck up, smile, put your fucking mouse ears on, and deal with the heat. But when you tell me I got to take out a second mortgage, to go for 7 days at Disney World, I'm not going to go. Like, the heat is unacceptable at that point.
Yeah.
But that's just one of many parts.
Right. And then, like we just talked about, you want to go to that Galactic Star Cruiser hotel for $5,000 for the weekend. I'm going to go there. Oh, so all right, let me see. I get to hang out with Luke? No. Han? No. Princess Leia? No. Chewie? No. Who do I get? Well, you get Rey, and you get Finn, and you get Rose Tico. Like, what? For $5,000, I wouldn't pay $500 for that, let alone $5,000 for that.
The thing is that the people that have the kind of money to do that are fans of the original trilogy.
Of
like,
course,
the only way you're going to sucker that type of people in is through the nostalgia.
Right? Exactly. You're not. They want
even
to feel like you're a part of the movie.
Even if the kids love Rey, right? And some
they
do.
don't.
No, some do. So,
very few.
Sure, but even for devil's advocate, even if they do, right? First of all, nobody's kid loves Rey enough to go, let's go to the fucking Star Wars joint. And even if they did, like, the payer is not gonna, mother or father or whatever is not gonna be like, all right, yeah, let's drop $5,000 to stay for 3 days in the fucking Force Awakens.
Look, here's the thing. If you're a family who's going to go to that, then the family all is a fan of Star Wars.
Right.
It's not just your kid. You know what I mean? Like, you're not dropping $5,000 for the weekend because your kid, likes Baby Yoda.
No, like, dad and mom have to have a good time.
Right. And they're going to be fans, and they're going to want to go because they want to enjoy it just as much as their child, because their child probably likes it for the fact that the parents are such fans of it.
But
and
if it was like $1,500, $2,000 or whatever, sure, that's a little more palatable. And then maybe if you're not as big of a fan as the sequels, you still want to go. You want to see what it's all about. Build your own lightsaber, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Because you can stomach that amount of money.
Yeah, you could squirrel that money aside to have a vacation, to do this once-in-a-lifetime type of thing, if that's what you were looking to do.
Right.
Sure. At $1,000 or $1,500, absolutely.
Sure.
Even if it's the sequel trilogy, you'd still... be
they still
okay with
had
the experience.
Millennium Falcon.
Sure,
there
was still some
a couple
pieces.
Of things.
Right. So you could do that, but at $5,000, people were like, no,
and that's not an
interested.
Exaggeration. Like, that's what it fucking
Right, that's
cost.
what it was for the weekend.
And you couldn't leave.
No, it's all-inclusive right there.
Right. It was a bizarre...
Yeah.
Like,
It was a terrible idea anyway. But
that was just one of the many failures, I think. And that one is on Chapek.
Oh,
that one is.
Absolutely.
But I think he was already handed, a burning.
Yeah, this was not something that was in good shape when he inherited it. I don't
think he had the ability to like I said, I think a better CEO may have been able to turn it around.
Sure, maybe. But, again, depending on, what your choices were. If you were told to, follow the message, follow the agenda, then I don't think any CEO would have been able to do anything. If you were a CEO that had your own thoughts and independently thinking and you decided to make changes how you see fit, sure, then I think that CEO could have pulled this out with no problem.
Because at the end of the day, if he had dug his heels in, it's going to come down to arguments in front of the board.
Right.
And I don't think he would have lost those arguments.
Oh, I don't think so either. I mean, maybe a few at the beginning until you saw the results, at least then they would have listened.
Right, but he would have already had his heels dug in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So he doesn't have to. It's not backtracking at that point. It's like, look, from day fucking one, I said don't do this.
Right, exactly. So it's like, hey, I'll play ball, but if it fails,
it's not on me.
It's not on me, and maybe you'll listen. And I think that they would have after the first few failures.
But he didn't.
He didn't do that. No, he went with the flow.
Right, and the flow caught the ship on fire.
Right, and then again, as we've said before, Iger came in thinking he was the white knight that was going to turn things around.
I don't know
and it's
if
gotten
here's
worse,
the thing.
Way worse.
I don't think Iger probably realized how bad it was.
Well, he did because he was still on the board.
Right,
he was there. He saw it all. He knew.
Sort of, though. Because the thing is that he went from being day-to-day to being, for all intents and purposes, retired.
Sure, to a degree, but he was still a part of the decision-making. He was still pushing what he wanted done.
But Chapek cut him out.
I mean, he wouldn't even give up his office.
I know, but Chapek cut him out of meetings and stuff.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So that's what I'm saying.
He was forced to because he wouldn't relinquish.
Right, but what I'm saying is that he was probably privy, but I don't think he probably had the full understanding of how bad.
Yeah, but I also think that he had his minions working against Chapek to do his bidding.
Well, end of the day, you're right. He did come in thinking he was going to be a white knight.
Right.
And he's not. Because
it's gotten 10 times worse since his return.
Right. Because, again, he's such an egomaniac that he thinks that, well, I had a couple home runs. I bought Fox, which he overpaid for.
Well overpaid.
I got Marvel, which he did good on that.
Yep.
Did good on Lucas.
Yeah. But think about this, right? Lucasfilm is what? 11 years, I think it is.
Yeah.
Right? They turned profitability in year 6.
Right.
Of the 11 years that they've owned it.
Right.
I guarantee now they're back to not profitable.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, between all of the toys that didn't sell,
right?
That's the thing is you have to look at it from a bigger. It's not just when a movie fails,
right?
It's not just the movie.
Yeah.
The T-shirts don't get sold.
No,
the toys don't get sold. Kids don't want the Halloween costumes. Like you're talking about billions upon billions. The whole reason Lucas is considered such a genius is because he negotiated the merchandising.
Yeah, but even when I hear that, it took you 6 years to get profitable on Star Wars. Like that to me. And again, I'm not there. I don't know the ins and outs. So it just seems like why did it take 6 years to finally become profitable with something that was such a massive cash cow at the time you bought it? And then, 11 years later,
you're back in the red.
Right. This thing is dead. It's dead. There's nothing you could do to even fix it.
Right. I don't think you can fix this at this point. So, if you want to put out the Acolyte and everything, go right ahead because no one's tuning in anymore.
Right. I want them to keep doing everything that they're doing.
Yeah, just
because
go ahead.
I want to see it all burn.
It's already burned.
I love every failure.
Yeah, you're getting the Schadenfreude now.
Yeah, because it's like, you know what you're supposed to do, but you refuse.
Here's the thing: is that you can tell that the general public has turned because there are articles coming out now from other sources now that are shitting all over
mainstream media,
that are shitting on She-Hulk. And I read one the other day that was talking about how She-Hulk costs around $25 million an episode, which is as much or more than an episode of Game of Thrones, which, regardless of how you feel about the ending, that was a well put together production.
Yeah.
So if you said to me, Game of Thrones, with all its different sets and all the animations and all the costumes and all the big name actors that they had, was $25 million an episode, for sure. She-Hulk should have been $1 million an episode, maybe.
Right. Well, we're about to get to the Marvels in a couple weeks.
And they're trying.
Did you hear what they just did to the ending?
No. I'm not tapped into that.
Well, it's out there. It's not. I'm going to say it anyway as a spoiler because it's out there.
Oh, no.
It's not. So they went in.
Spoilers for the Marvels, guys.
Right. They went in and did more reshoots.
Of course.
And at the end, they have Kelsey Grammer coming as Beast from the X-Men universe.
For what?
Because they think that that's going to help.
But how is it going to help? It's not going to fucking help.
No, it won't, because no one gives a shit. Because it's such a failed universe.
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy. There was an executive the other day talking about how fucked they are with Kang because of Jonathan Majors is fucked.
But the thing is, my point being is, you just admitted that you think this movie is a disaster because you just redid the ending just a couple weeks prior to it coming out.
But the thing is, right, is that Kelsey, like Beast, is going to walk through a portal and say something snarky?
No. I guess supposedly at the end, Monica Rambeau gets caught in the multiverse.
Naturally.
She's going to get taken to X-Men Manor.
Okay.
Underground.
Yeah.
Beast is going to be there with her mother. Her mother is dead, but in that universe,
she's not.
She's not.
Right.
So this is going to be the multiverse of how to get the Fox X-Men that eventually will lead to Deadpool, and then and then they'll fix all whatever there. But the problem is that couldn't have come cheap to redo all that.
No, and then you got to hire Kelsey Grammer.
So you had a $300 million budget just go up more for something that you think is going to save this movie, which there's no chance in hell that's going to save this movie.
Is that who is that for?
It's for nobody because no one cares.
It's not for me.
No one.
Because here's the thing. I'm done with Fox X-Men.
Everybody's done with Fox X-Men. There's no life to that.
It's over.
That's like 5 years ago.
That
it happened.
It came out like 20 years ago.
No, I'm saying what was the final one?
Logan.
Right? What was that? 2017,
yeah,
right?
Something like that, 2018, something.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's been over for a while as far as the whole X-Men Fox universe.
Listen,
we're good. We don't want it anymore.
I was fine with Deadpool dipping, bringing people in for a minute. I'm okay with that.
The only reason I care about that is because they're best friends, and I think it'll be funny them two playing off each other.
Right,
That's
agree.
it. That's the only thing. I don't ever want to see Hugh Jackman play Wolverine again.
No,
after
this, it's got to stop now.
I just think it's funny that I think the two of them together.
Well, I mean, it's been a
comedy
ongoing
duo
joke for every movie
exactly.
too.
And I just think that it's going to be funny to see the two of them ham it up.
I agree,
but I wouldn't have minded if Hugh Jackman was Hugh Jackman in the movie and not Wolverine.
Yeah, just kidnapped him and forced him to act like Wolverine.
I would be happy to never see Wolverine again.
That to me would be fucking way funnier.
I would have preferred that.
So, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then we have the fucking, the fact that Snow White got delayed. They don't know what to do. So they delay it till 2025.
Did you see the images?
They put the image out.
Oh.
But here's the thing. The dwarves look like fucking dwarves. So you had this big controversy, and they still look like dwarves. What the fuck?
Yeah, but they look Like
they look
thing
stupid.
of nightmares.
They look they're giant. They look stupid.
Oh, it looks horrific.
But my point to it is when I saw the picture, I was like, you fucking caused all this controversy for that?
Right.
They look like they're dwarves.
You look like you took the animated 7 dwarfs.
Oh, yeah.
And
just pulled them right in.
Yeah, and then just made them 3D.
Because the thing is...
A horrific 3D.
The thing that's so funny to me is it looks like a cartoon.
Right.
It does not look real.
No, it looks horrible.
And
That's some of the worst CGI ever.
Her dress looks like something you could buy at the Disney store.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
It's crazy.
It does.
But they pushed it till 2020.
They have to.
Well, they can't reel her in.
No.
She's a psycho.
No, she's doing such damage to the Hunger Games right now. Gina Carano just blasted her ass all over the place because she's out there because she got special permission to promote the Hunger Games prequel that she's in, right? And Gina Carano's like, hey, aren't you the same girl who I have to spend 18 hours in a princess dress and I should get paid and I'm here with my brethren, but all of a sudden you got special permission. But
she's just a grifter.
But what about all the guys and girls who hold the camera and hold the microphones and all those people that are losing their homes who didn't get those special permissions that you obnoxious,
listen,
arrogant piece of shit.
It comes out that she's horrible
She's
to work with.
She's a horrible person.
It comes out that she's terrible to work with.
Yep.
Like, she's just mean.
Right.
You know what the thing is that she's a young woman who thinks she has it all figured out.
Right.
And she has lots of money, so she's a quote-unquote success, so no one's going to tell her she's fucking wrong.
Yeah, except for the fact that,
You're
been
awful.
But you've been in nothing but bombs in
not
the two
even,
movies
not even
that you've
nothing
been
but
in.
bombs. You come across as a douchebag.
But again, if you're Taylor Swift,
yeah,
and you're beloved by the majority of the country, and you're making millions upon billions of dollars,
yeah,
and
her movie came out against Scorsese's and it beat it.
Right. Like if that's you, I'd be like, I still think you're a douche, but
you can back it up.
Right. This girl has nothing to back up the way she
just
acts.
An arrogant attitude.
Right.
And the thing is, right, and we've seen this with like Brie Larson.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to come across as humble, you better be the best fucking actor around town.
Right, exactly.
And if you're not, then we hate you.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of actors who come across as deplorable, but they can name some successes, and you can't argue with that. You got to say, yeah, they were pretty good in that movie.
But the thing is that even the deplorable actors aren't getting on the mic and lambasting the fans.
No,
they might be shitty running around.
I'm just saying they're shitty individuals.
I know, I'm just saying. But it's one thing to be shitty just running around being a shithead.
Yeah.
It's another thing to have no like you said, nothing to really rest your head on. There's no
no, nothing.
And to then lambast the fans on top of that.
Right. Yeah.
Who the fuck are who are you?
Right. And what you're sitting there saying you're owed this and you're owed that. And it's like, what have you accomplished that you're owed anything? You're lucky to have a job.
Just comes across as it seems exhausting.
Yeah.
Like to be in her orbit.
And I don't think that many directors in studios are going to want to work with her going forward because
her career is going to be
right.
Very,
her career
very
is going to be
short.
she's going to be a flash in the pan if she's even a flash, and I don't even think that's going to happen.
So, enjoy Hunger Games, enjoy Snow White, maybe.
But
see ya.
Yeah.
And then now, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and Blade.
Oh,
we got to talk about the debacle this is.
I don't even know. Here's the thing. Maybe it's for the best.
Maybe.
Just I don't know what else to say about it.
But I mean, to sit there and say that the script was... it was all women who were teaching life lessons.
Right.
And Blade was the fourth in line, just kind of in the background, reminding me kind of The Witcher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go sit over there, you know, and it's like, that's something but you paid a director, a writer, to write that.
Yeah.
And you had a director, and you were going to start working. Like, Feige was okay with it, and then
but
something changed.
That to me doesn't make sense, because I was always under the impression that Feige loved Marvel.
Yeah.
So
he does.
Right. So, I mean,
I'll give him that.
Okay, then what the fuck?
Right. And it's only because Mashallah Ali
said
was going to quit.
Right. Because
he forced them to change it.
Here's the thing. Even if Mashallah Ali isn't a fan of, Blade proper, but it's important. Wesley Snipes, the first black one of the first superhero movies, really.
Right.
And he wants to be a part of it. And the dude's a great actor, so he's going to do his research.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going, this isn't fucking Blade.
Right. But this isn't, but it's not only is it not Blade, but it's like, what do you think I'm really going to partake in? Like, I don't think that even if it wasn't Blade, he would have not wanted that movie. Like,
but
I'm going to sit here in the background while these three women give life lessons.
But what? Here's the thing. In the Wesley Snipes Blade, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had that moment at the beginning with the mother dying and everything,
yeah.
and
mm-hmm.
There are very strong women in that movie.
Sure,
for sure, there are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about life lessons. It's about stopping a vampire god.
Right.
Like, that's what it's about.
Yeah,
and Blade,
that's all it should be about.
Up.
Yeah,
that's all we want.
Right.
That's all we want. I don't want fucking life lessons from a vampire.
Because the thing is, you can't make Blade in Marvel, in the MCU.
No, not in what you've created.
Right. Like, he's not going to sit there quipping with the vampires.
When you watch Werewolf by Night,
mm-hmm.
it doesn't fit in Marvel.
Right. That's because they gave this guy
free reign,
full autonomy.
Yeah.
Because it was a low stakes thing.
And
like, this is just a special for it.
It's the best thing that's come out of Marvel in a long time.
Absolutely, it is. And most would agree.
It was hands off.
Mm-hmm.
It was cheeky. It was fun.
There was again, there was a strong woman in that. Right, I mean, Elsa Bloodstone is a strong woman.
She's pretty much the main character,
right? And she is, she has a big part in the Werewolf by Night, and it could even be a big part if you do the Midnight Suns. She could be,
sure.
what I mean. So
that would be cool.
But you didn't have the message. What you had was an organic,
entertaining,
who deserved to be there because she belonged,
right?
And you told an entertaining story for that hour. Because you didn't have to fit it into the whole Marvel universe.
I say it doesn't belong in the cinematic universe, but I let me recant that and say that to me belongs in phase maybe 1 or 2.
Sure.
That I think it fits that tone fine.
But you should have started with Moon Knight, gone to Werewolf by Night, which could have led maybe into Blade, then maybe into Ghost Rider.
Right.
Like, you should have been running parallel.
But that's the thing, is that instead of making all of this garbage television, She-Hulk, 18
Miss
episodes
Marvel.
of fucking Daredevil.
Yeah.
You had the opportunity to go a little more mature,
mm-hmm.
right? And at least capture the audience that might have been waning.
Yeah.
Because like, after Endgame, a lot of the people that grew up with it were like, well, I want something a little more mature now.
Endgame was, in a lot of fans, the end. It was the Endgame.
Right.
They said, my story for Marvel is now complete as a fan.
Right.
I'm going to move on to something else.
I just think the way you could have kept that adult audience, because they went from being teens to adults,
mm-hmm.
right? In that 15 years, was to go a little more adult with the, I'm not saying it has to be as dark as Daredevil on Netflix.
No,
but
it doesn't need to
you
go.
Need to start trending in that.
You should have gone to where that where the line is with Netflix. Right, there was a certain line, and then Netflix crossed that line. Right. You could have gone up to that line,
and it would have been fine.
And
the thing is that you had already kind of prepped your audience when you put the Daredevil on Disney Plus,
right,
but with the message, hey, this is mature.
Right.
Make sure you want to view mature stuff.
Sure.
So you were good.
Right.
There was no backlash on that.
Right. But the thing is, you could, that's the whole problem right now is you didn't need everything to be about the multiverse right now. You could be telling that saga, and you could have been running parallel with something else.
Everyone is doing multiverse.
Right.
Zaslav is doing multiverse.
Yeah.
They forced the multiverse into Mortal Kombat now. Like, WB is all about the multiverse.
Yeah. But
it fucking fails.
Right. It fails every time.
There's not one place where it's worked.
No. And the thing is that everybody's going to start stopping it except Marvel.
Oh, because they're so bought into it.
Think about it, right? Marvel, the multiverse is to 2027.
That's crazy.
Like, we have 3 more years of this multiverse.
You know what's going to happen?
Everybody else has stopped it.
Do you remember, this is what I think is going to happen, is we're going to get to a point of, like, the Joel Schumacher Batmans, and then Batman disappeared for, 20 years?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
Sure, it's going to have to happen. Because you have to cleanse it.
But we're getting to that Joel Schumacher level.
We are. Because the thing is, you're in a panic mode right now. I mean, they're talking about canceling, potentially canceling Blade, potentially canceling Thunderbolts.
But here's the thing.
Potentially canceling Ironheart.
Right, cancel it.
I think you should at this point. I think that there's so much negative press.
Yeah, I don't think you can even get it made.
I don't think that you can get this movie made. I just think that you end it. I mean,
because the thing is that, it's going to be hard to get any more talent than you already have on there because it has the rep that it does.
Right. But the thing, too, is you haven't started it yet. I mean, this was a movie that was potentially coming out in this year.
We got a logo. Right.
And so you haven't even begun pre-production for this because of all the, you have to keep scrapping it. So what are we talking now? Where is this going to fit in? I know that it says 2025, but you haven't started it yet. I can't see.
How are you going to get this out in 20? You're going to do this in a year and a half?
No, of course you're not. You're going to push it out to 2026 at this point.
The actors are still on strike,
right? And again, if they don't come to terms this week, then the studio said it gets pushed off till January.
Right. So then you're talking about. Everybody's going to cool off. Then you're going at it with, fresh fire.
Right. But the thing is, if you're not going to start doing anything until January, potentially, then no. Then a movie that hasn't even started yet isn't making 2025. That's 2026 at the earliest.
At the earliest. But especially, what is your plan? You're going to drop Snow White, Deadpool, Blade, all in the same fucking year?
Yeah. Kind of like all the movies. What did they drop? 8 to 10 movies this year?
You've oversaturated the market.
Right. With all the Disney Plus shows on top of it.
So like you haven't learned anything.
No.
Now before we cut this, I want to talk about one more thing.
Sure.
We've been pretty vocal about how we feel about Disney.
Yes.
And I feel like we try to keep it pretty balanced,
Like
we try. It's not screaming from either side of the aisle. It's just, look, we like these stories and these characters, and when you bastardize them, we get upset. It's no deeper than that.
Right.
Now, South Park.
Yeah, they eviscerated.
Here's the thing. South Park is... Matt Parker and Trey Stone, or Matt... Yeah, that's who they are. Trey Parker and Matt Stone,
Correct.
I should say.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Those guys are geniuses.
Sure.
I mean,
absolutely.
Through and through.
Sure.
Right? And they've been doing this for coming up on 25, 30 years or something.
Yep, absolutely.
And the amount of experience and the amount of lawyers that look over this kind of stuff, they're not going to put something out that's going to get them in trouble.
Right. Of course.
They know the game at this point. They were brutal on the Panderverse special. It was from the beginning,
But it's everything that every fan has been saying. South Park was able to take all the fans and say and give it a voice in a large
and
audience.
The thing is that I feel better when that South Park did it, because I'm like, all right, I'm not on the wrong side of this, because I've always I've watched South Park since I was a kid.
Yep.
And I've always been in line with who they were making fun of, because I'm always like, yeah, they're a fucking joke.
Sure,
so
course.
for them to go at Disney as hard as they did, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
specifically Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, they were. I mean, merciless.
They were merciless against her, and they're not wrong in anything that they said. It's 100% true. It's lazy storytelling of we're gonna just race swap, gender swap, tell the same story over and over again. We're going to just keep on, hey, what do you got? We're going to redo this one. Yep. I mean, again, they just made the announcement, even though it has been confirmed, that they want Michael B. Jordan to star in the live-action remake of Hercules. Right? And it's like, here again, we're told, oh, we're going to quiet the culture war. Everything that has been announced since that comment has been Disney 101.
Well, what? Are you going to go like a Hamilton sort of route with that, or what's the plan on that?
No, just a live-action remake of the cartoon. That's it.
Is he going to sing and everything?
I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
See, because we can pick it apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Aside from the fact that Hercules was from Greece,
right?
Just taking that off the table.
Sure, yeah.
He was, and even looking at, again, it makes perfect sense, because Disney's playbook is, if you're a redhead, buckle the fuck up,
right?
Because
you're gone.
You're not only are you gone, you're going to be replaced with a black person,
right?
That's all they do, is they take redheads and switch them out with black people.
And this is, and again, this is what South Park made crystal clear. That is how lazy these executives are. That's all you do. You keep doing it over and over again. You're pandering. You try to pander to everybody, but you please nobody. There's nobody that you're pleasing. All of your, flop after flop, the financial situation that you're in is all because you pander continuously by doing the same lazy, just race swap and gender swap, retell the same story, just do it that way. And it's not
here's
working.
The thing. Let me give you an example real quick of something I thought Disney did well.
Okay.
You remember a little set of movies called Pirates of the Caribbean?
I do.
Caribbean.
The Caribbean.
Yeah, the Pirates of the Caribbean. Keira Knightley's character, Elizabeth Swann, right? In the first one, she was kind of the damsel in distress love interest. By the third fucking movie, she was the pirate king.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there was a journey,
right,
of her getting there. It wasn't in the first movie. She goes, I'm tired of being a damsel in distress. I'm now a pirate king. No, she went through trauma and adventure,
right? But she also swindled her way
through it
to do it,
right?
I mean,
she was the best man for the job.
Right. She didn't just walk up and say, "Yeah, I'm the pirate king now
because I'm the best around.
I'm the best," and there's nobody to tell me otherwise.
No, she swindled her way.
Right.
She truly earned the pirate king.
She went on the journey of how to become a pirate.
And here's the thing: like the movies or not, right? Mm-hmm. That right there is one of the strongest role. That's a strong female lead in a power role, and she nails it.
Right. Yeah.
And there's love between her and Will, and you can have that because it's fucking normal.
Right.
And she's still the pirate king. So you can have you can have it all.
Right.
But you have to do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just crazy, man. I don't know. And good for those guys for
Yeah. Yeah,
I want to see more.
Yeah, they definitely, they definitely put it out there of what the audience and the fans are continuously saying, and it's like this should be the wake up call.
Well, I think it has to be.
It has
like
to be.
Disney's going to go after them because they're stupid.
Sure.
But I think for them to do this, right, especially with what their show is, I think it's, and it's not what it was, but it still is.
It's still relevant,
right? So for them to kind of dig their heels in and say, enough. I think that is it doesn't get any clearer than that.
Right, exactly. And they're speaking for the masses.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. Well, with that, let's put this one to bed.
Absolutely.
Jim, as always,
enjoy
having you on here.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you got going on?
Working hard, trying to continue to finalize Chapter 2 of Eva, my comic. And still trying to make sure we get the art out every single week. So
I caught that witch. I like.
Yeah,
that.
You like that one?
Yeah, that's a Broomhilda.
Old school Sunday morning comic strip.
Yeah.
But check out the socials if you want to catch the artwork every week.
All right, guys. So that's episode 78 of The Corner. You know where we're at. CatalystCrafting.com is the main website. Catalyst Creations NH is the Etsy store. Sold something to the Historian of the Strange.
Nice.
Yeah, it was cool. He reached out, so we talked to him a little bit. But what do you guys think? I mean, have you seen Creepshow? Have you seen Creepshow 2? I think it stops there. I don't think you go Creepshow 3.
No.
Creepshow 2, I like it. Thanks for the ride, lady, is creepy.
Right.
Yeah. It's got Joe Hill's in it. Nice. You like it. Are you a fan of The Thing? Do you think that Keith David's character at the end is the Thing? He is. Come on, he's drinking the fucking gasoline. He's got to be.
Yeah.
Or is it Kurt Russell? I don't know. John Carpenter knows.
He's the only one.
He knows. Have you seen Five Nights at Freddy's? Are you a fan of it? Do you think they did justice to the game? Would you like to see more games kind of brought to the silver screen that are true to the source? Or do you want to go to the Panderverse? What are your thoughts on Disney? Do you think that it is a ship that's sinking and they're just going to let it sink and sell it off? Do you think they're going to be able to salvage it? Let us know in the comments. All right, crew. We'll catch you on the next one.